So welcome, Brett.
Lovely to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, my pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure. I've been watching you on Instagram and, well, other than being in awe of you, I just can't even understand how you do it. I can't even stand up on a skateboard. That's the first part, let
Oh
alone
yeah.
let alone paint. You're amazing. So thank you for joining us.
Oh sure. Thanks so much. I mean, I haven't always been rolling whilst painting, but yeah, I guess I wanted to get moving.
Well, well, you're doing that. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So let me read this because I don't want to get this wrong. You're a multidisciplinary artist, a performer, presenter, author, and filmmaker, which isn't on your bio. You need to put that in there as well at the start. You are a very multi-talented. But you talk about multidisciplinary artist. Tell us more about what does that actually mean?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's become a title more in my later years. I used to be called just contemporary artist
Yeah.
for a long time, 10, 12 years. And then the later 5 years, I kind of added public artist to that. And then, yeah, I released a book which was 12 years of public art murals. So author was added.
Yeah.
Um, and whilst I found, as a multimedia practitioner, we document everything we're doing these days with cameras and videos. So a lot of my work started to turn into documentary filmmaking to try and allow people to understand the body of the work and the paintings and how the public art was a journey and becoming more like a film. So
Yeah.
that allowed me to release kind of over the last 7 years, four different films in the short film circuit worldwide, and that's I was the director of those. So that becomes filmmaker.
Yeah. Wow. Art's a funny thing, isn't it? It's kind of like we for those of us who are not artists, we just say art, and we think about painting. We don't. I mean, I'm an artist. I'm a musician, and I know that's a whole other stream of art, but
Yeah,
it's kind of when we don't actually well for me I'm just ignorant, but I don't think about public or contemporary or multi. I don't think about that stuff. I just go, well, that person's an artist, and that their
yeah,
work's fantastic. So it's actually much deeper. It's much deeper than you think, and there's a lot of people who think that art is like go get a real job and that sort of stuff, and yet imagine the world without art. Like it would be.
so I always say, yeah, we're all born creative and we're all creative artists. I mean, it's that light within that expression that's coming out of someone.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's such a shame it's being dimmed down in certain ways throughout your development as a child into an adult. And I think, yeah, activating that again and it really attracts such energy and vibration from others that because they're seeing themselves in the art
Yeah.
more than the painter.
Yeah. I agree with you, and I think that I've got a couple of points on that. Is that one? Yes, we're told if you go to college, do something that'll make you money. Don't go and do arts. Do the other thing, and it's there's also the other part to society that if we put our art out, so a songwriter, an artist, an author, because we're like you said, that stuff's in us, and we're putting it out
Yeah,
and we're laying it on the line. We're almost saying, well, here's my heart and soul. Come and jump on it, and most people don't have the courage to do that. Like I
yeah,
don't think people realize it takes a lot of courage to put any of your creative works out on display, because you are effectively putting your heart and soul out there to be judged. And we've been raised in a world where we're scared of criticism, we're scared of judgment, we're scared of all that sort of stuff, so we suppress it, and we hold all this greatness within us. And I agree with you. I think it's sad, really sad.
yeah. I mean, I've been doing creative work since a child. I had a paint frame painting in the school's principal's office, I guess, in grade one. I have these stories that are being retold to me only now, from certain people, and I never really felt like I was worried to show it to anyone. I've never had that real personal fear of anyone's comment. It has never really fazed me. But I think what it is just having that drive to continue putting something out there that you think's creative or worth being seen. I think that might be people's challenge. But yeah, I can tell you the best thing I've ever done is that I've always just followed that trust in myself, and that the paintings that I wanted to see, that no one had ever done before, in that style or collage or illustrative ways, I just followed that. I never did anything that had been done before. So since about 2006.
Yeah.
So I started in photographic collage, which was slicing up little photographs from my travels and animating them into faces and icons. And that's when I did the Barack Obama Hope campaign in Miami. So, you know, people thought it was, why are you doing it? Because it's not going to sell. It's not commercial. But kind of like that style was in 2009. And now kind of it's what NFTs and digital art is now. So we were doing it just because it felt right.
I love that. I was listening to a podcast yesterday with Jay Shetty, and he was talking to, and I wish I could remember the guy's name. I can't without picking up my phone and looking at it. But he's a record producer. He produces, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and he did Johnny Cash, and he's a really big guy. And he talked about exactly that. And I think that you're talking about an elite level, which is obviously where you're sitting, because he talked about the difference between the great artists, musical artists, and the average ones who were going to be pulled down by society. The difference was that the average ones were worrying about creating something that everyone would like, and they wouldn't put stuff out. But the great artists, he said, they just came with something that came from their hearts. And he said it was like a gift to the gods. You were just creating it because that's what it was. It was like an offering. And he said they're the ones that succeed because they just do it because it comes from a place of deep, deep love and deep, deep soul, and it's that's exactly what you're.
Someone's holding your hand and it's guided. And I mean, we can all paint the ways that have been done in the past. You can get the art books and see everything there that's been done. I mean, I always found that an issue when someone was like, in your studies or something like, recreate that and like that. And I used to be like, there's no way I'm going to do that like that. I'll do it in the most modern way my brain thinks right, because I just always felt like it had been done. So it's always, I think you got to operate 10 years ahead. So if you want to be a future-based painter, you've got to think, what I'm doing now is going to be seen in 10 years. So, and then once you've done a whole collection 10 years ahead of time, when you hang those shows, no one can ever catch up because they just can't. You can never get that work again,
Yeah. Oh, I love that. No, I really love that, because you're so right. There are so many. I've been to those art classes, went to Canada and somebody said, do you want to go to the ice hockey or do you want to go to an art class? And I said, I don't know, but let's just go to an art class, because I really don't see myself as a painter at all. And we did that. We did a picture of a jetty. We all did the same thing. And I've still got it quite proudly hanging in my room, but it's not a great work of art. But it was fascinating though to see everybody's take on that. But it was amazing. And also in my workshops, I get out texters. I make everybody work with texters, not pens. And you want to see the inner child just comes out everywhere. So it's exactly what you're talking about before.
I think the big thing is everything is always right, and it's that romance between the energy within the place and space. So, with your group there and your friendship and your creations together, that's that moment of bliss. And the biggest thing for people is to understand is just make that mark. Any physical form or geometry that's being extracted from your body in that moment, I love that.
I love that you said that too, because I used to teach guitar to real beginners, people that had them in the cupboards. I used to say,
Yeah,
don't worry if you can't play it. You'll be able to play it after 8 weeks. And so I'd get
yeah,
this group and 8 weeks and I would just teach them the most basic strum and the most basic chords and change it. And I said exactly that same thing to them. If you hold a chord and you strum your guitar, that never existed
yeah.
until you did that. And
That's
once you
it.
do that, you put a vibration out into the world
Yeah.
that has this ripple effect that goes somewhere. And so
It does things. Yeah, it's
it
beautiful.
does. So for God's sake, create. It doesn't matter what it is. And I love that you're saying just put a stick in. I draw in stick figures, and I know that creates. It's funny.
Yeah,
So
it creates a discussion between you and your girlfriend and your friends over the way, and they go, "Hey, look, her eyes are different to mine. At least she did something."
that's it.
Yeah,
That's exactly right. And I tell
yeah.
you what, I want to leave this earth knowing that I did something and inspired others to do something. And I bet you're exactly the same.
That's
Yeah.
what we're doing. And I mean, yeah, how it's so lovely where I'm in this position where I can, skateboard for an hour and make my mark and be seen and open that discussion to people in front of me and see what they can see.
I love that. So tell us about that. So at the minute you've got a residence, you've got an art space at Docklands, and you're doing a series called, now if I get the words wrong, correct me, a series called Inner Essence, and where you sit someone down and you're on a skateboard and you're painting their aura or their energy as you're going. And you talked about that connection between space and time. You really sit there in the energy. Well, you don't actually sit there in the energy. You skate through the energy. I
Yeah,
love that so
yeah,
much. How does that work for you? Like, how do you? I don't know. I've got so many questions. Why did you come up
sure.
with it, and how does it work? There's
Sure,
more.
yeah. I mean, I came up with it. It was originally called Movement, and it was about Brett's movement. So in 2014, I exhibited Sculpture by the Sea in Bondi, and I had my half pipe there, and I skated on the top of the mountain over 3 weeks and painted my panel van. And I
Wow.
used to ask the children. I had school groups coming all over New South Wales, and I said to the children, "What am I doing?" Because I'm the artist. I'm skating. I'm not quite sure. And they said, "Look, mate, you're painting the movement of a skateboard." And I thought, wow, that's a good idea. So then I thought, okay, this is movement, this is Brett's movement. And then, so since 2014, in 2019, I did a series, I painted portraits of musicians in a theatre. And these portraits were part of the Fringe Festival, and I called them Energy.
Yeah.
So then following that in 2021, I did a series in Pentridge Prison called Frequency, which I was exploring what aura and frequency is and raising my vibration to kind of paint that in an abstract form. And after that series, that's led me to the Inner Essence series, which now I'm painting a deeper story from within the subject. So I'm not just looking at their face, I'm looking at visions that I have once they consent to come for a painting. And when they sit behind the easel, they can't see the painting being painted because they're behind the canvas. All they can see is me skateboarding like a pendulum, and they can hear a musical sound, a resonance from a musician, and then that rolling noise, which creates a sound bath. So in a lot of holistic health and healing and wellness, they call that a sound bath, which is
Yeah.
like with gongs and singing bowls and shamanic healing.
Yep.
So that's what we're creating there with the skateboard. And then I'm painting the aura of that inner essence that I'm seeing from them while they're sitting there. And then after 1 hour, they can come up off the seat and see the painting. And yeah, this is where they see themselves within that.
Wow. All right. So now I've just got more questions. So first of all, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
How are you feeling it? Like, is it when I know it's intuitive, but sort of what sensations are you getting? When you feel something and you choose a color and you know where to swipe the brush, like what's telling you to do each movement?
So what it is about dissolving fear, having no thought, And when you move at high speed, because I'm doing this on a small quarter pipe, but I do it on a vert ramp as well. I like to do it outside on a 20-foot vert ramp. Now,
Wow.
at full speed, time slows down in the artist's eye. So when I'm going fast past it and I strike, it's very slow. And then when I reach for the paint, I do everything while skating. I don't stop. So I get the different paint off the table and the brushes as I'm going. And because at high speed, it's like slow. So it's very easy to do. And to sum up what we are doing, there's three people. There's the musician, there's the artist, and the subject. And
Yeah.
what we're doing together is we're being alive.
Wow, I love that. I love it. Now, I want to ask about the you said about the sound bowls. I'm very familiar with sound bowls, and
Yeah.
so how now sound bowls are made out of usually out of crystal or out of a brassy sort of whatever. But
Oh,
then
yeah.
yeah, they're made of a substance that will resonate, and carry that
Yeah.
sound for a long time. You're talking about the skateboard, the half pipe in your skateboard. What are you using? A normal half pipe and skateboard, or are you using some special thing to create that sound bowl effect?
Yeah, so it is a timber half pipe. So and it has a metal baseboard
Yeah,
and a flat timber section. So, but it's just the sound of the wheels, the bearings, the wood,
yeah,
and I guess because it's called pumping. So you're just
yeah,
pumping and hitting the toe pin,
yeah,
bang, and then tap, then roll, then tap, then bang, and then
yeah.
so you hear the sound between the metal coping, the metal baseboard, the wood, ding, ding, and then what people who are sitting behind the easel are saying to me, they're like, "This is like a kind of an ancient ritual type around the fire type hand drum." All different
Wow.
cultural practitioners doing a ritual like smoking ceremony
Wow.
on of the initiation of their first life or something. So I'm like, yeah, that's this the contemporary way. Here we are.
Wow, I love it. It's very rhythmic, isn't it? It's kind of, when we talk, everything you're talking about, energy, essence, frequency, all the things that movement, all
Yeah,
the stuff you are naming your themes and your shows or your exhibits or your sessions, whatever. It's
yeah,
all about that rhythmic stuff. And it's
and
all this inner, yeah,
state.
flow, yeah. And
Yeah,
it's what I think it's fantastic because I can imagine being in that room and everybody's moving
the
together.
whole audience
Yeah,
becomes entranced in a flow state, and they have no
yeah.
thought. And the chakra colors are being thrown on the canvas, and then there's a lighting artist. So it's art therapy, light healing, sound bathing, meditation, and
Wow.
then you get to hear someone's kind of perception and the inner feeling when they see themselves there, as an outcome.
Wow.
Um, so it's it's amazing and it's going really well. And I mean, I this is the first series I've sat them behind it so intimately, I guess, within only a 15 to 30 people seated show.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's getting a lot of interest.
I absolutely love it. How do you feel that aura? Is a sensation in you, or do you actually see it? Because some
Yeah,
people can visually see an aura,
no, I can visually see it. Yeah.
yeah. Wow.
So as a child, I could always see kind of particles within the air and colors and energy. And I used to talk to people about that, but they always was like, no, 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 it's not
Yeah.
real. And then I think it took me kind of 17 years full time painting worldwide, kind of to understand that, hang on a minute, no, that is exactly what I could always see.
Wow.
And
Wow.
then this is why I'm painting this series.
I love it. And when you say 15 to 30 people intimately, one, how long are you there for? And how do people come and be involved in the audience?
Oh yeah, sure. So we've been here for 3 months. We've done 29 portraits, It'll probably be here for another 3 months, like
Yeah.
towards December. And I'm listing the shows on Eventbrite, and that's on my Instagram, Brett Ashby Artist.
Yeah.
So the tickets come up there. And the last one I did was with Sam Newman, and
Yeah.
he was so calm. He was like, people said, would he skateboard with you? I'm like, he's so calm, he could surf.
Yeah. He's very misunderstood, isn't he? I saw the your it was on the news, when there was
Oh, yeah.
a news story about you painting Sam and how he told these kids off, about
Yeah, yeah,
skating on monuments. Get your bloody skateboard off
yeah,
those, have
yeah,
some respect, that kind of thing.
yeah,
And then, and they, I think the media were trying to, have their fun with it. Well, here he is now with a skate artist. And I remember at the very end they said, "Well, how do you feel about the skates now?" And he said, "I love skateboarding, but
yeah.
but be respectful. Don't skate on monuments or skate where you're meant to or something." But he was yeah, he was so good. I was he
But
good to paint?
that's what I mean. It was fascinating because there was all this chit chat and talk around it, and
Yeah,
as soon as he came in, and I just sat quietly with him, and we just locked right in, and I was like, no, like there's people have no idea who someone is until they meet them, right?
yeah,
And
I
I don't
agree.
judge anyone, and I'm open to working with anyone, and the painting I did with him is something to see. So I invite everyone to come and see that original. I'm doing the paintings kind of, and I'm keeping them within this collection, looking to exhibit them after I finish at this
Yeah.
residency. But some of the collectors, they will collect them as well. I guess some subjects would like to collect them, so they're the only ones that are collecting them at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, fantastic. And I know you did a friend, my Bessie Kay, yeah, some
Oh
just
yeah.
not long ago, and she was on the podcast 2 weeks ago. So, have you done anybody who, when you're talking about energy and their auras and all that sort of stuff, have you done anybody who was just like had such a strong, vibrant aura and energy that it almost made you, and I'm just going to take a punt because I don't even know anything about this, and made you almost pass out from the
Oh,
because I can imagine that.
it's another thing. You're right. It's another thing. Like I write song lyrics too, so like a
Yeah,
ghostwriter. But
yeah,
on top of that, it's like this love song. So the series, in a way, they're love songs.
yeah,
And what you're getting at is, was there someone like this?
yeah,
So I did Dr. Cooper. Now she had so much love and energy, and it's the painting of her with two hands up,
yeah.
and there's a whole bouquet of flowers at the bottom just flowering up in a blue circle, and she's with her hands up, and everyone in the audience was like, my gosh, Brett, like what a flower, like she's just flowering. The energy is so, the colors are so lush and beautiful. So yes, that would be a moment of that we're all here to celebrate.
Wow. Oh, I could have. Oh, wow. I can
And
just
and the
imagine.
one, yeah, the one thing she said privately in my ear when she got up, and I'm going to tell the world, she's like, "No one knows, Brett. I love dancing." And she's like, "You painted it."
Wow.
She's dancing out of the flowers, and we would like, amazing. This is great. This
Oh
is
my
the
God.
essence.
You must float, like your frequency must just become so high, just
Yeah,
such a buzz. Wow.
it's
Oh,
it's full intense fitness for that whole duration.
yeah.
So I mean, there's no room for error, and there's no
Uh,
you are at a peak of like an athlete, I guess. Yeah. So
yeah.
it's flowing, it's high vibration, and it allows the subject's still, and they're not moving, so they're riding with me, but they're not moving.
I
'Cause
love it. But you also do this on a surf. Oh, go on. You were going to say
Oh yeah,
something.
yeah. Like I get off and people interview me straight away, and I'm not short of breath. I'm not tired. I don't usually even need a Gatorade. I mean, I'm just there. I'm so charged, and I mean, they're like, "How you doing?" And I said, "Well, I use their energy.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
paint it like their energy, the energy of the room, the audience's energy, the musos keeping me going." So, I'm letting them do it. I'm just there.
But I get what you're saying because, I used to, I don't sing anymore, but I had my thyroid out. I can't sing anymore. But I used to be on stage 4 hours at a time.
Yeah,
And I know it's different because I wasn't using anyone else's energy except mine. But it's kind of, for me, it was a space of, I'd explain it like I left my body. Like my body just did all this work,
does
but
it all. Yeah,
I didn't even drink in that 4 hours. I hardly drank any water. It was a few
yeah,
mouthfuls. Was never hungry. It was like I couldn't feel my body for that
yeah,
whole 4 hours. And exactly like you, I could have kept talking, kept playing, kept singing. I only ever stopped because the drunks got too silly.
yeah, yeah.
But other than that, I get what you're saying. It's such a wonderful. Now, your surfboard. Like, how do you
Oh,
do this
yeah.
on a surfboard?
So I did, yeah, this is the end of COVID, I guess. So 2021, 22 time. I did Understanding Life or Death is the painting. I
Mm,
painted a 7 meter 3 panel canvas of a blue whale and
I
the
saw
kind
that.
of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bones of that and the aura on top of that. Now, how I did it was in on um, Aboriginal land in traditional land in Phillip Island, where I allowed the surfboard or a kayak kind of to float along the top of the waves, and then I get the aura colors, the chakra colors, and then I let that paint the energy onto the canvases. The canvas and the easel were floating in the ocean, and I
Wow.
allowed nature to paint it through me. And then I needed that to be shown and seen, so I exhibited it on a 32-story billboard in Times Square for the world's biggest public art show, Cube Art Fair. So, and that's kind of exploring your inner New York and what does that mean. Also, um, painting something like an animal and then showing it in the most man-made and toxicity place in the world. So it's that contrast that I'm interested in, allowing people to come to their own discussion around what that means.
Wow. All I'm thinking about is capsizing. But anyway, but what you've done is so powerful, and I worry so much about the state of our oceans and the
Yeah,
marine. I worry so much about it, and I worry about exactly what you're saying, the disconnect. It's kind of like,
yeah,
oh, we got climate change. Oh well, too bad. I need my heater. Or
yeah,
we've got marine real trouble in the marine world, but that's okay as long as I'm doing the hustle and bustle of, and living in my apartment and everything else. And I think we have a real, and not that we have a choice a lot of the time, because like we have to live. We can't just all
mm,
live in shacks and what
yeah,
have you. But I don't think we're conscious enough of making small changes, or making the changes we can make to,
mm,
because once the ocean's dead, we're dead.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't, I don't
I
think.
think it's a lot to understand, and I mean, as a painter, I did that work. I mean, people think it's fun, amazing, rock star, surf along paint, but I mean, it's always a challenge. But I mean, to exhibit it at that scale is very hard
Yeah,
to achieve, to
yeah,
manifest and create. And on
yeah,
top of that, once I hung that work there, I mean, I didn't paint for 6 months after that because I was still understanding what all that meant
yeah,
within myself. So it's
yeah.
very important and it's part of my journey. And in the end, yeah, it's something that I'm working on to do. So then I achieved that painting, but then from that, it's 250,000 people an hour over 2 weeks were logging on and watching that film and trying to see themselves through that. So that's why I'm doing that.
Wow. I, I'm in awe of you. I just love that you say I didn't paint for 6 months because I was consolidating that, taking
Yeah.
all that in and what
Well,
that
the
means.
title is the intention. So
Yeah,
understanding life and death. So I mean,
yeah,
you're going to have to sit with that
yeah.
and I'm a cancer survivor myself, so I know what it means to be told you're going to die in a week. So that's also part of me. 6 years later, achieving that painting after
Mm.
knowing certain things too.
Mm. How did you survive? How did you overcome that?
Yeah, so I had the chemotherapy and things like that, but I also had painted a series prior to being diagnosed with cancer, and that was my cancer series. And I painted that on the Mornington Peninsula whilst living kind of and having a big studio down in Rye. And I was becoming, yeah, more healthy myself for fitness, swimming, vegetarian and vegan, and kind of for 1.5 years prior being told I or finding cancer. But leading up to that 1 or 2 weeks before a doctor kind of showed any interest in my health, I had completed the whole series in my studio, and I had screwed the last hangers on the yard and titled them all, and then I, like laid down to die pretty much, and was like, I think something is wrong. So off I went, and then the next day before Easter, I had testicular cancer. So I think in the way they're saying, you did heal yourself. You pretty much extracted it all to an area where we can get this out, and you've still got widespread kind of, so you're going to have chemotherapy and lots of a big process ahead of you. But if you don't go in now, yeah, you won't survive. You've only got 1 week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Wow. So you know what? That is, I talk a lot about when we have adversity, we try harder. Like when we've been through something that scares the shit out of us, we realize how short life is, and when I say try harder, I don't mean hustle and grind. I don't mean that shit, but we try, we just allow, and it, well, one, I'm bloody glad that you're over it, but
Yeah.
you weren't meant to go. Didn't like you look at the
Yeah.
gifts you
But
bring
I
in the
mean,
world.
I think, yeah, everyone's journey is different like that. But I mean, it's not like I wasn't having a go before that. Like I would
Yeah, I
be
know.
very successful and having a real good go from 2006 to about 2016. It's
Yeah.
10, 12 years there. But what I'm sort of saying is maybe I was having a go kind of guided by things I'd been taught, things people in front of me were telling me the way to do things, maybe commercializing art or, pushing bit hard in different directions that's not quite what I would mentor a student to do, or, as a painter or visual artists. I don't think we have mentors. I don't think we have any kind of agent, any kind of manager. We have no assistants really. So painters kind of take on curating and exhibiting and dealing and all the sort of facets of management and business. So they were all the things that led to my self destruction in a way that would have harmed my health. So I just think there's a lot of people out there that don't know all of that's involved in the business of being an artist, and it's very real. So yeah, you got to give yourself some self love because I don't think they are, and a massage every so often could prevent kind of some sort of blockage in your body. I'm sure.
Yeah. And you do yoga now and breath work and all that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Is that because of that? Like, did that come after the cancer situation or?
Yeah, I mean, I only come into kind of understanding of holistic health kind of after surviving.
Mm.
Prior to that, I was successful soccer player. I mean, elite sort of soccer player, martial artist, and I just used to surf as a hobby. But yeah, no, I was my teachings were never about kind of stretching like that in yoga or yeah, because breath work and that really calms down your system
Mm.
and it allows you to breathe from your stomach and things like this. So I think a lot of people are just all about breathing in the chest, like as
Mm.
footballers and soccer players, we just were taught breathe to the chest, the lungs, kind of like. And then I think you're getting a lot of blockages and a lot of um, pain in your body as well from
Mm.
like knees and ankles and injuries, I think, were
Yeah.
building up, I think. And so there's, testicular cancer, there's a lot of boys who play soccer that have that. I found that really interesting.
Mm. That is interesting, isn't it? Well, I'm not going to dig into that because I'm not a doctor, but it is interesting about breath work. I think
Yeah,
the Eastern medicine has talked about breath work for a long, 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 long time. But Westerners know best, and what a load of rubbish, and let's pop some pills. But we
no,
need to pay a lot more attention to the stuff that's been there for so long, and the yogic stuff. It's just been there for so long. It's
yeah,
but
100% I'd be doing that. Yeah.
yeah.
So the breath techniques, kind of like you're breathing in for 6, holding for 6, breathing out for 10, figure that out, those patterns, or breathe in for 8, hold it for 20, the more you can do. And some people, lots of collectors actually come to the shows and they say to me, how do you do this meditation? Oh, you just meditate? I'm like, no, I don't. And I got to this point where I started answering. I said, no, I actually just hold my breath under the ocean for as long as I can.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, is that how you do it?
Yeah.
What I
I,
think it is I'm trying to tell them Brett actually can hold his breath for a long time because I just surrendered to it. And I'm like, when I need to breathe, the body will take its last breath. Like,
yeah.
because it's that deep spiritual connection that the body will breathe when it needs it. So you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
When you understand that, I think you can do anything.
Now, can I just do a little disclaimer to listeners? If you're not used to doing breath work, please don't
But,
start with the 20-second breath hold.
but
Start with the
don't do
box.
anything that Ashby does because my latest series is skating on a half pipe in a beautiful 50-acre flower garden using a flamethrower, grinder, and welder. So I mean, I'm talking about contrast. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think in your living room, breathe normally. And if you do a meditation with your girlfriend, take a break. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll be right.
Exactly. And just start with box breathing, 4 in, hold for 4, 4 out. That's not going to make you pass out, but I wouldn't be going straight for the ice bath and the 20-second,
Yeah.
hold your breath.
It's
But
true. It's true, everyone. Like it's a everything you're building up to things.
that's
And
right.
I don't actually like this phase of people are just saying, yeah, go jump in the ice bath. You can have a shock, it's
Yeah.
it's you got to build up to that. You've got to go on your normal swims and get ready for these things. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you entirely. I think it's about practice, and it's building the muscle, and
Yeah.
this start with the first step. And it doesn't even matter if the first step is just walk out your driveway, out to your car, then back again. Like
Yeah.
just start the process. But God's sake, start small.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in that. Start small. And anyway, and you're saying your current series
Yeah.
is in a beautiful garden. So we are talking about at a Broughton Hall out at
Oh
Jindavick.
yeah.
Is that the one we're talking about? The Gods series?
Yeah. So I started it was called my flower series. So I was painting sacred flowers on flat steel, and that was in a
Oh,
on a half pipe. And I was using power tools to that contrast between steel, the material, and the beauty of the plant. And
wow.
then so whilst painting the flowers, then that led to working with the same steel fabricator who we've achieved 14 steel sculptures which hold up blue stones, and that's called Gods, and that's going on show on the 25th of June at Broughton Hall. And those stones are from Swanston Street Metro Rail,
Yeah.
um, half of them, and half of them are from Pentridge Prison, which was my prior studio before the Docklands.
Wow.
And the works create a 10-meter sacred rock circle for people to stand inside, and it's being shown in a 12-meter hedged garden which is called the completion circle within David's beautiful 50-acre garden. So
Wow.
there's a lot of symbolism,
Yeah.
kind of through histories and shapes and plantonic solids and yeah. So it's the first 3D work I've done in sculptures ever. So people are really excited and they want to I mean see why Brett's gone back to stone.
Mm. Wow. All right, guys. So that is at Broughton Hall in Jindervik, Sunday, 25th of June, 10 till 3. And they can get tickets through your Instagram page.
Yeah, it's on the Eventbrite. Yeah.
Yep.
The link's in the bio.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, I love it. And I have one question before I ask the next question. You talked about it being in Pentridge before, and you're so in tune with energy. What was the energy like there?
Yeah, great question. I mean, so everyone comes through the castle, through the gates, and they're always feeling like there's some darkness or something.
Yeah.
Well, I used to work there from 3 p.m. till midnight every day for 12 months.
Wow.
And I used to be kind of in the later section, the only kind of person on site. I know that. And but I was never alone. And I always was walked out with the security officer who would lock up at midnight. So I always had a protector. And it was a human. He was the real, and he had the keys. So I used to always exit with a real human. He become a friend, and yeah. So to be honest, I only ever saw light and white energy. Now
Really?
I believe the people who had done their time, they were found themselves. They sat with themselves within the time, and most likely got to enlightenment. The only negativity energy I received from being on site was from people who may have chose to lock someone up.
Wow. Wow. See, that's just fascinating. I used to have a friend lived at Kew Cottages, that was where they had all the people with disabilities, and they turned it into big apartments. And I used to go and visit her. She lived in one of the towers.
Yeah.
And it was a different energy. And it's funny because you're talking about the energy of people who had found themselves, and sat with themselves for long enough. I think the energy at Kew Cottages was people who were completely disturbed by the trauma that others had inflicted on them. And I found I'm very sensitive to those kind of energies, and they would want to come home with me. Do you know? And like I would see them sitting on the gates, and it was unpleasant. It used to give me the jitters.
Lots of people I've worked with and in there for longs of times. So every project's the same. I mean, you should leave your shoes outside. You should take your clothes off. You should hot shower it away. You need to leave it all on the land. I mean, these are things that people should be doing. And every found object, past, present, I mean, it's all got energy and soul and stories attached to it. You need to be present enough to, be aware that you're walking through stuff. You can't see everything. Your eyeball is only, seeing what you think you're seeing, but there's a lot there.
I agree with that and believe in that 100%. There's layers and layers and layers of stuff. And I tell you what, these people who pick up things out of national parks, like, like the volcanic rock from Hawaii, and Pele comes after them, I believe 100%. Don't take
I think I took a devil's marble once, it might be still catching up with me, but certainly outback Australia. I mean, somewhere up there, I was with some Swiss people, or some Russians or so. And I mean, yeah, I think it was in my backpack.
I'm a big believer in that. Don't take stuff from where, leave it.
I don't think so. Yeah.
No, if it's nature, you leave the bloody thing. That's it. Take only photos. But anyway, some people might think we're crackers, but anyway, I don't care what they think.
I spoke to some people recently about photography too, because I mean, it's something I think people should consider because they're all just got their phone and they're
Yep.
extracting light into matter and they're
Yep.
like throughout history, people were like, you are freezing some sort of aura and energy into your photo. And I mean,
Yep.
there's lots of spiritual practitioners and things who don't take photos and don't want to be seen on the photos. So, I mean, I don't think anyone's thinking about that these days with social
Yeah.
media and just sharing their eyes and their energy and their fields. And it's, I think it's
Mm.
probably very similar to taking something from the desert and taking a photo of someone. It could very well be similar.
Mm.
So yeah, we just got to be aware of, we what we're doing and what we're sharing and giving it away.
I love that thought. That's never crossed my mind, but I really like that. I think that we've become so fast and shallow anyway
Yeah,
as a society, as humanity. It's just like quick bang, 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 go, 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 go. And
yeah,
when you said before about you didn't paint for 6 months, that really struck a chord with me. It was
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like, wow, wow. The imagine the world if we all did something, then took a breath,
yeah,
just
for sure.
stopped and you let that sink in.
But it's okay to stop. That's
Yeah.
that's what I love to tell people too. And it's like Keith Urban called it like the speed of now, and I get it. But it's okay to stop because no one
Mm.
actually knows you've stopped.
Yeah.
Like, people see me paint Sam Newman and they think, oh, Brett's rolling obviously every hour after that. Well, no, I take a break. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
That's
know, it's
yeah.
not it's not a normal 9 to 5 job. I can change my roster. I mean, it's okay to go and get some yoga and have a massage and see a friend and not skate. You can take a break. It's all
Yeah.
right.
I
Hang the
love
brush. I
I
said to
love it.
someone, I hung the brush, I painted the whale, I hung the brush. I've gone out for a latte. It's all right.
The
You
world
know?
didn't fall apart while you. I wanted to ask you. You are also a butterfly sword fighter, and I know
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not relevant that much, but I'm so intrigued. What is a
sure.
butterfly sword fighter?
So I mean, the haircut, it's real. I'm fast. But it's the two metal swords that have the metal across the front, and they're
Yeah,
kind of, I reckon they're kind of from medieval or Viking time.
yeah,
But yeah, they're kind of 1 meter high. So I grew up with them. I mean, my brother had the samurai, but I was like, no, I'm the butterfly with you cross it over and it catches the samurai, and then
yeah.
in the end, I can chop his head off.
So you really do this? Is it real
So
like
it's
sport?
martial arts. It's martial arts. Yeah, Japanese kind of. I was a
Oh,
martial artist, black belt instructor. Don't come around here at night time. So you used to do katas. It's like a dance. So you do 10 to 15 of those, and you do gradings every year, and then you graduate, and then you can fight with weapons. So that was my
wow.
chosen weapon.
Are they real? The
Sure,
ones you
it's
fight?
past life. Past life.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a parcel. Okay,
They're real. They're
absolutely.
metal. Yeah, they're steel.
Wow.
So, are you hinting something here? Shall I get them on the ramp? Just skating with the swords. No, but it's all about playing, having fun, being alive, and
Yeah.
we're children. It's okay.
Oh, we are children. Oh, I love that so much. If we just need to get our inner child out. Some people, I'm 60. Some people say you don't look 60. I think what they really mean is you don't act 60. And I say no because I'm still a bloody teenager and I'm
I
still
think there's that joy there, we can see. So when you're talking there, you're telling me that we can see you younger. So
yeah.
when they say to you, you don't look that age, because they actually see your inner child. They see that younger version of you. So I think, that is what people are saying. And
Thank you.
yeah, it's lovely.
It's a very naughty inner child.
Well, you're not on the bench though, are you? You're not on the bench.
Oh shit, no.
It's
I'm,
good.
I'm off the bench creating a ruckus. And,
It's so
uh,
good. And I've
I,
heard you've been dancing with Bessie, so
I
that's
have been
amazing.
dancing. Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
stop.
I fell over about 6 times, flat on my ass. It was a lot of fun. A lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
fun.
Oh, it's brilliant.
I know, it's fantastic. Now, I want to just ask one more thing before we go. You've got awards. You've been winning awards since 2009 in Australia, UK, US, and Italy. And your art is hung worldwide. And I'll just want to read it out. Don't want to miss anything. Berlin, Texas, Cape Town, Edinburgh, Geneva, Sri Lanka, London, Paris, New York. It's kind of like New York, London, Paris, Munich.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
the song, it's just a bit like, anyway, don't worry. London, Paris, New York, Miami, Tokyo, Dubai, Tennessee, and many parts of Australasia. How does that feel?
Yes, I think when I had my first show in the Royal Exhibition Buildings in Melbourne, of my own style of collage artworks, I printed my business card and I always wrote on that Melbourne, Sydney, London, New York. And not so long ago, someone found that card and they showed me, and it says Brett really big and Ashby small. And I said to them, well, you know what? Look in my wallet. Here's the same card. I've never changed it, but I always put Brett first.
I love it.
And so, none of that means anything, but yes, it's true. And I always just did my own art that I felt was right, and it's only now that I can sort of have these chats and yeah, understand what I was doing.
I love it that you're taking us right back to the very start of this conversation where I was talking about that record producer and you talking about just
Yeah,
just doing work for the gods. I don't
yeah,
even
yeah.
believe in all that religious stuff, but it's just that whole essence of giving work to the gods. And
Your
when
own
you
God as well. Become your
exactly,
own God. Yeah.
yeah,
And listening to your own calling, your own life path, and
yeah,
and I was always following it. Even it was always could have been a struggle, but I was like, yeah, but there's nothing else feeling right. Like there's nothing coming through this hand that's telling me not to keep, holding my own hand and doing that.
yeah,
So I never questioned it, and the more and more I did what I thought was right, there's always someone like you have a painting, there's one painting, there's one Brett, there's one painting, and there'll be one human out there that wants that to support you and just say,
yeah,
look, mate, I really want to help you with that. I want that.
yeah.
So, you know,
I
one person, one world. I mean, just do your thing.
I love it. Just do you think I love you saying just be Brett, like
Yeah,
me, just be me, be me. And there's so many people just too scared to be them and just show up.
yeah,
And when you said, what's right, I so agree that the most important thing in life is how we feel, is just how we feel. Does it feel good? Does it feel right? How does it feel? If it feels shit, don't do it no matter what the attachment is to it. Just do
yeah.
what's do what's you know each of us knows what's right and wrong, and we're too scared to go within and look at that.
I think I guess it's not a normal line of work, I guess, to do visual art. So, but when you are doing visual art, that's an expression. So I don't think you can express it if it's not what Brett wants to see. Like, so
Yeah,
it gets to a point where, look, if you're hanging things in front of you that doesn't feel good for the painter, then this is not right. You can't be doing that. So you got
wow,
to keep extracting what's right for you, and then what's right for you means there's someone else will see themselves in that, and they need that. So I think that's the
100%.
motivation. That's the only reason to do anything.
Uh, Absolutely, I agree. I keep saying to people, getting off the bench, get off the bench. Somebody needs what you've got.
Yeah,
Somebody out there needs to hear what you've got to say, needs to read what you've got to write, needs to listen to a song, needs to have your art.
yeah,
There is somebody out there who needs it. So get off the bench and play, do it. You have. I
it's
love
great. Oh, just like, skate at the bench and then kickflip over the bench. Then go, yeah, like this is all right. Fine, but not like Sam Newman. Like, don't grind it. Jump it. Totally.
So when I was a kid, I used to steal bikes. It's really terrible. I used to steal neighborhood push bikes, and I built a ramp, and I used to, ride the bike over the ramp and crash the bloody thing. And I never used to stop until I'd wreck the bike, and then I'd take it back to where I stole it from. And so anyone listening, yes, I really was a very, very naughty kid. My poor mother almost had heart attacks nearly every week. I'd do something wrong. And it's when I'm looking at thinking about getting off the bench, I'm thinking, all of a sudden, this desire to grab a bike and fly through the air like a jackass, like those jackass movies. Not like you, because you actually know what you're doing, and you're not 60, and I would break my bloody back coming off the other end of it. But I've just got this urge to go ride a bike off the edge of a bloody thing. So I'll say get off the bench like stand up. Just.
I'm happy. I've got a nice camera kit. If you want, I'll come and film that. You let me know.
Well,
and, for any jackass lovers out there, I painted Brandon Novak's portrait.
Oh, did you?
In the gallery, and we painted his portrait on steel, and that was my first portrait on steel. And it went to Philadelphia to be hung in his treatment facility, and he's in love with this. He's saying this is the most powerful sitting he's ever sat for and painting, and it's amazing. But what happens is all those activities you do in your childhood, everything that occurs in front of you, it's all part of your journey. It's okay. And someone like Brandon will let you know that you'll get up, you get better, and you try again. And he's an amazing person.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, what a great way to finish. Well, Brett, I've absolutely loved this. Where can people find you and follow you?
It's just brettashby.com. My number's on there. You can give me a buzz. Follow your dreams, follow your art. You can do anything. And message us on Instagram, Brett Ashby Artist.
Fantastic. All right, I'm going to put all those links in the show notes. Brett, thank you so much for joining me. I've had an absolute blast. You've started my week off fantastically, so thank you very much. Love your energy. Love it so much.
Keep rolling.
Well, you keep rolling. I'll keep walking. All right. All right. Thanks.
I'll catch you at God's.
Yeah. Thanks, heaps.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. Nice to see you. Thank you. See ya.